Hey, what's up? It's Emilio DiSpirito, and this is the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you each and every single week. My team and I have hand-selected our guests to come on the program to talk about how to build wealth financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? There's so much that goes into building a lifestyle full of wealth, and we hope that this content really reaches you, not only in your brain, but in your heart, and that you could do something with this. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and we're going to have a great show. Hey, a special thank you to our sponsor, Annie Mac Home Mortgage, whose Cash to Keys product is disrupting the industry. Sick and tired of finding the perfect home, not having your offer selected? I got to tell you, it happens all the time. With Cash to Keys, Annie Mac gives sellers a cash guarantee for each of their buyers' offers. Stop bidding and hoping. Instead, bid with Annie Mac and bid with confidence. Don't just bid, but win. Annie Mac Mortgage. Have you ever heard of upfront underwriting? Well, I haven't until I started working with Movement Mortgage. Movement Mortgage is one of the top loan originators around the country. Specifically, I want to give a thank you to Matt Bates. And if you're lucky enough to live in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New Hampshire, I strongly suggest you contact Matt Bates at rimortgageguy.com. Again, rimortgageguy.com, and he's going to help you to find that dream home. He does upfront underwriting, which means they fully approve you for a mortgage before you even place offers, increasing your chances of winning that dream home. rimortgageguy.com. Hey, welcome to the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm Emilio DiSpirito. This is season number 2, episode number 13. We got a lot of wealth creation content to give to you today and some really great guests. I'm excited about this one. So if you are into building wealth, right, that's probably why you're here. And you may be doing it through an avenue of different businesses. I think that the next guest, you're going to find that she has a lot of really great and valuable advice, especially if you're running a sales organization. Particularly today, our guest has a strong focus on real estate brokerages. But I want you to know, as somebody who has worked in several different sales environments, the information is practical, it's useful, and you can go ahead and put it in to really any type of business, because all businesses they revolve around sales. Even if you're an attorney, you have to be bringing sales in, right? It's why they're all over the billboards everywhere. And, so whatever you're doing, I think you're going to find some practical, good stuff here and some advanced stuff. And we always welcome you to connect with us and our guests. For more information, feel free to comment all of our posts, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram, etc. So without further ado, Debbie Lariviere, and she is with Monter Coaching. She is a coach. She works with brokers to help recruit and bring on top talent all over the United States and Canada, and does a fantastic job. She has been growing in the ranks of coaches, and just this is why we have her on here. And she's going to help us to build wealth through adding to our sales volume by adding salespeople. So welcome to the Wealth Architect, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Emilio. I'm excited to be here and share information, and you're spot on. All of this is translatable to any business because it's about performance and results, right? And we all have to dig into each of those aspects of our business.
100%. So what I love that you're located on the East Coast here in Wilmington, North Carolina, because we were just talking about how your West Coast clients, right, or your clients in, say, Vancouver, Canada, they get on a call with you. They're like, hey, good morning. You're already eating lunch. So you're ahead of the curve versus working with, say, somebody out in LA. If you are a person out in the East Coast and they want to get on a call at dinner time, it's just not the same. So I like that you're in that flexible, good timeline over there.
It proves itself valuable for sure. I get nice and warmed up by the time I get to them, and they're still tired.
Absolutely. And how long have you been in this business? Just give us a quick background of how long you've been in the business, why you started it, and what you're all about.
Yeah, sure. So I might age myself a little bit. I look younger than I am. I've been in the industry over 2 decades, so over 20 years. And I started as an agent, a real estate agent, as many of us do in the real estate industry, and have built teams, run brokerage firms. And when I got to the end of that era, decided that creating a consulting and coaching company would be my next what's next. And the reason I went that direction is because I really appreciate and am passionate about the business side of the industry more so
Yep.
than how to sell another house, or for some of your listeners, how to sell another widget or another job. It's really assessing the business side for growth, culture, retention of clients, retention of agents, and diving into what those key metrics are, those key performance indicators are, to keep our
Hmm.
businesses growing, but also scalable. I think oftentimes businesses don't think about what scale can look like for them. They see this big word as scale being, I have to have this monstrous sized business. And instead, let's just focus on the business terms, the business metrics, and really just grow that to whatever your definition of success is.
Wow, I love that. And so it's much larger than just recruiting, although recruiting is such a huge piece of it. But there's so much inner workings in any business, never mind a real estate brokerage. I own a real estate brokerage, so I know. And as you're speaking, this is good. I know we're going to have a really great conversation, super informative. All right, when we're looking at brokerages, okay, what do you think the overall gap is, and the significant gaps that they have when it comes to where they could be earning more, where they could be operating at a better, more efficient, higher level? Like, where's that gap?
Yeah, I think for so many brokerages, they look at the main key being the recruiting. And like you said, you own a brokerage. And
Hmm.
so we do focus on that recruiting piece. And recruiting is very important to the business, but recruiting, to me, it fills the seats. We're not really looking at what is the development that builds the producers, because producers drive profit. We're not looking at those actual metrics. We call them glamour metrics in our
Hmm.
firm, for real estate brokerages, where they focus on what is the volume, what are the units, how many agents or headcount do I have, versus really looking at what is the company dollar being brought in, what is the company dollar going out the door, or revenue from the company going out the door when we lose a client, or an agent. And then the same thing is, what are we doing to retain? People say retention. Oh, we're retaining, we're deal doctoring, we're making sure everyone's happy with a great culture. But retention actually comes in when we're offering an added level of service. So,
Hmm.
like you said, if you're an attorney out there and you can offer one more level of service, you retain a client to keeping them from going to a different attorney or a different financial provider. And the same is true for real estate. So when we can really dial in and understand our real estate agents' definition of success, or where they want to go with their business, and help them connect the dots between our brokerage and their success, that's retention. And I think so often when you look at the gap, we bring these agents in, we know that they have the possibility, or they're already at that 50 million, $100 million production. We're not helping them figure out what is it that will take them to 150 if that's where they want to go. And it's the
Hmm.
same for our staff. So often with our staff, we don't help them grow. We put them in these positions, we give them job descriptions and responsibilities, and we don't really show them the way to continue to grow. And that's where the gap lies between where we are today and how we continue to grow, because that growth also creates attraction.
Mm. So why is it? Why do you think that so many brokers get stagnant? So many, we love to see people grow. And I think the definition of a leader is to help people to grow in all aspects of wealth, right? Financial, physical, mental, spiritual, right? Like, a leader really needs to be infusing people with all of these skills, and kind of showing them the way in doing this. So why do so many grow stagnant?
I think they don't know what to track, right?
Mm.
That we're told as an industry to track your revenue or the dollar coming in. We're not teaching them what specifically they could be tracking. What are those metrics that push our business forward? Is there a cost per agent to keep someone on our roster? And are we tracking what that cost is, and knowing what it's costing us for people who aren't producing, for our agents who aren't producing? How do we get them to producing?
Yeah.
Right. And then how do we take that next person to bring in additional revenue? I think the other thing too is we don't necessarily look at what we're offering. We don't really put a dollar amount or timestamp on what it is that we can offer. And
Mm.
so when we're not really looking at what the business is doing to build other people, because ultimately that's what it comes down to, we're tracking the wrong things.
Mm. So all right, so 71% of realtors did not sell anything over 2024, I believe, maybe even going into 2025. So 71% didn't sell anything. What is the cost of keeping on somebody that doesn't sell? Do you know that? Is there an algorithm? Is there like a formula? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really comes down to what brokerage company they're with, their brokerage firm. And oftentimes it's based on tech stack. How much are we paying for each person's slot in a tech stack? What does our staff cost us? So if we have to staff up because we bring in 15 new agents this year, what is the cost of that staff that the bottom line is incurring? We could also look at it as a space cost. So are we adding space for additional broker members? And I know a lot of these newer companies have gone to more of your virtual office or no cornerstone office in the town center. At the same time, there's cost to that as well. And it is specific to the brokerage firm. But I think when you start looking at also the brokerage leader's time, you as a brokerage leader spend time onboarding, you spend time offboarding, you spend time justifying, you spend time on that conversation in a recruiting appointment. And so the cost to it is actually much more substantial than oh, well, it's the $50 office fee and whatever printer copies that they incur that we have to pay for this month. I mean, we're really not diving into it. And when you think about that 70-ish% of agents that aren't producing, I think it comes down to this industry tends to be more reactive than proactive. And so if we were proactive and had some accountability around the business, we truly wanted to survive in the business or thrive, right? We're going to lean in more on what are the proactive things we can look at to not only cut costs, but be aware of the costs when we decide, do we keep someone or do we not?
So let's pick this apart for a second, right? Because there's a lot of value here. And I think a lot of real estate brokerages are having this same problem, right? So what do you do with the agents, with the advisors that aren't selling anything? How do you take them and make them, successful, help them out there, and how do you make them profitable for the company? Or do you just kind of let them go? Because I can tell you, before I even go further with this, I could tell you that the ones that aren't selling probably won't sell. And if they've not been selling for a year, you probably are better off letting them go. But how do you handle that? What is the answer?
Yeah, I love this conversation in consulting calls. When you look at this, oftentimes we get to where now we're at the end of the year when we're recording this podcast, we'll go to the top-down report and we'll see these bottom 30 advisors who did minimal production and maybe the bottom 15 did nothing. And so we look at it and say, do we have to first take responsibility from a proactive side and say, what did we do to help them elevate their business? And I think the other key piece we forget to ask is, are we meeting them where they are? Do we know why Sally didn't produce this year? Did she have a family emergency? Did she take on another job? Do we know if she's driving Uber? And so we as broker owners or leaders aren't taking the time to assess who's not producing throughout the year. So we get to the end and say, oh, cut bait, right? Just let them go. You're right. There are many agents on there who won't produce. We know that from an industry average of 20% of the agents make it in this industry. I do believe that if we bring them in, it's easier for us to help them be productive and create raving fans than it is to recruit them later. So it is taking that step back as a leader. Look at your top-down report, figure out who's at the bottom, and go find out. Go have a business planning consultation with them as a leader. Invite them. Maybe you do it as a group, but really digging into what are their goals. Maybe their goals are just to have a license to buy and sell investment properties on their own, and your brokerage isn't the right place for them. So again, it starts with proactively understanding. When I'm working with our brokerage firms, even at large scale, we look at this report quarterly, and what we assess is year over year. So did this agent produce in Q1 last year? What did they produce? And did they produce Q1 this year? If not, we need to talk to them. Really just meet them where they are. What's going on? How can we help? Maybe they've just got like 57 overpriced listings that they haven't been able to sell. So when we go pull the report, all we see is zeros. We don't see 57 active listings that we need to go help them have conversations around. And so really looking at that list. And then as far as if they're not going to produce, they're better off somewhere else, right? I'd rather let you go now than let you down later, because ultimately, as that person stays on your roster, you become the reason they weren't successful when they go talk to these other brokerages where they want to hang their license. And now those brokerages have recruiting power over you, because now they're sitting there telling them all the things that your brokerage didn't do to help them be successful. And so let them go. show them the way, refer them to another brokerage that may be of benefit. I know I've got some that, they do just do it for investment. So why are you paying top dollar? Go to a lower cost if it's just for you, save your own investment money, and that's the way to go. And then I've got some that we just need to help them. We need to get them in a mastermind group with our office, a mentorship program, and get them to 6 deals if that's what the average is. And if your average sales price is, $500,000, 6 deals helps your bottom line because they're always paying company dollar to you.
Sure does. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine that also owns a brokerage, and he has a coach as well. And his coach told him, you know what, if you have people that aren't producing, there's different ways you can either get them to produce or get them to weed themselves out, right? Because we want to ultimately support everybody. I want to see everyone at my brokerage succeed, just like I'm sure all of the other brokers out there, right? So his idea, I'm curious what your take is on this, and I'm not going to use his exact numbers, but his idea is you have a fee, okay? So you have a fee, you charge them the fee, and say it's like $9.95 for the year. Okay, so that covers, maybe some of the tech, some of the other stuff. And then they are on a 50-50 split for the first, say, 2 or 4 transactions. And then after that time, then they can level up. He said he's actually doing that with all of his agents. Start with a fee and then 50-50 for 1 or 2 transactions. And then they, boom, bounce up to a high split. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think you just have to look at, does the fee cover the cost of the agent to be on the roster? And so if the $9.95 and they're paying it out of pocket covers that overhead costs for the agent, for your staff, your systems, your processes, whatever it is that you're offering as value. If they sell nothing, then, I don't see how it's a loss other than at some point you could have an unhappy agent that's not doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
But again, you're recouping at least that cost to have someone on the roster. I went through this with a larger brokerage firm, and they charge for their E&O, and that E&O cost is $2,700 a year. So they require their agents, if they're not producing, to pay that either in 1 installment or 2 installments, and then they can stay on the roster. Well, what happened there is then we have a lot of agents who aren't producing, and they're looking at us saying, you're not offering me what I need to produce. And so with that company, we ended up transitioning them to have a referral network where they could pay a lesser fee, go into a referral network, and then they can refer out to their agents, but they still get that income because they're not actively full-time agents in the business. And so that's the other key is, are you looking, what is your business model? Do you want part-time agents? Or do you want full-time agents? Because agents that are selling less than, honestly, if you start looking at just even solid splits with your brokerage, if you're selling less than, for me, I would say 12 transactions, you're not running your household financially. And you're definitely not creating wealth to invest or do other things that when we talk about wealth building, like you're not creating wealth building. This is just a really expensive hobby.
That's right. So we look at the KPI, the key performance indicator of per advisor production. Okay. And, let's just say across my MLS, across my state here in Rhode Island. Okay. It's going to vary state to state. The average realtor is selling 2 transactions with a total of about 1.5 million a year. That's the average realtor. So at our brokerage, we have a 4 transaction minimum. Okay. And however, we've got a handful of people, wonderful, amazing people, right? But that aren't selling. So what happens for these brokerages like ours, okay, that want high quality people, that do not want to be known as hiring part-time people, we want to be known as having advisors, okay? Unfortunately, that waters down the rest of everybody here and waters down really the overall competence, the passion, exclusivity that's behind our brand. So if you're looking at that per advisor productivity, that's a really good number if it's working out in your favor to use in recruiting, to use to show people, look, our average advisor here does 5 million. Okay. That's several times more than the marketplace. Now, if you cut out that the bottom producers, that jumps up to probably 5.5, 6 million, which is just even better overall. So I like how you were talking about key performance indicators there. And I think that that's something that we should really be looking at. And there are brokerages that are better fit for people that don't want to produce.
Absolutely. And I love that per agent productivity, because we do look at that when we start thinking, does this person stay or go? And I'm with you very much, like self deselect, help them understand that there are other opportunities out there for them.
Hmm.
Because you're right. When you start talking to your ideal advisor is that $25 million producer, that $50 million producer, and even a group of those, call them 12 to $17 million producers who are on the cusp of either building a team or hiring a leverage or wherever they are and growing their businesses and their wealth. When you start having conversations with them to be able to sit down and say, these producers joined our office, or this is the average production of agents in our office, that's who they want to surround themselves with. And I
Yeah.
say the same is true for some of these conferences, right? High level producers or top performing agents want to surround themselves. They want to be included in the top 100 agents or the 50 under 50, and like they want to surround themselves. And when you can present that, they look at you and say, now that's who I want to surround myself with. They're helping me grow wealth.
Hmm.
They're helping me grow a true business, not have a job. They're teaching me that this is how I can create success in the real estate industry. And we always have to be training to the next level. And to me, as a producing agent, I would look at that and say, this company is training to the next level if that's their per
Hmm.
agent productivity. And the same with
I love
average
that.
sales price, right? You look at that, and if we've got a span of average sales prices and we can create a little bit higher than what the market's doing, again, I could look at that. I can be a $15 million producer and hitting what the market's hitting average sales price. And by joining your firm, I could go to be a $20 million producer without adding 100 more transactions, right?
Correct.
So it's just really utilizing those in recruiting conversations and not having to water it down with. And like you said, there is a place for agents who want to produce fewer units. It's just helping them find that place if it's not at your place.
Solid point. And I really love, who I love? I love the agents out in the marketplace. Like my marketplace, we're at like 550 median price. Okay. I love the agents that are out there doing about 5 million a year in sales, right? And you see them, when they're at 3 million, then they jump to 5 million. And then I love seeing those agents. And that's like the sweet spot, because that's somebody that is eagerly working hard. They're just now starting to support their family with the money that they're making from real estate, but they want to hit the 10 million next. And then they want to hit the 15 and the 20 million. Those are our people. I love those people that are eager to learn. They're motivated. They're excited about the business. And I can tell you 14 years, I wake up every morning, not every morning, but most mornings, extremely excited to do what we do. I wanted to jump into a question for you too. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of Byron Lazine. He's the team leader of what is it? One in Company or One. I'm sorry, Byron, I forget the name of your team, but he's a beast. He is out of Connecticut, and he runs the top team in all of Connecticut. He's also involved with Broke Agent Media. If you guys aren't following him, follow Broke Agent Media. They got a lot of great content. They're always sharing. But he has a meme that he just put out, and he basically told agents, stop looking at the split. Look at the bottom line. Look at the money that you can make with the brokerage. Who's going to help you grow? A high split doesn't mean anything if you're not making any sales or making any money. So I want to hear your thoughts on working with a brokerage with a high split versus the model of a lower split, more support, more marketing, more everything that, more support all around. Can you kind of tell me what your thoughts are between the two?
Yeah, I hear the word sometimes, oh, this company's expensive, but it's
Yeah.
not expensive. It brings value. And I
Yeah.
agree 100% with that. I really don't believe that top producers leave brokerages over the money. They leave brokerages over the culture or what they're offering.
Yeah.
The money, just because they can't equate the money that they're spending to what they're getting. And that's the biggest thing when you look at some of these higher cost brokerage models. They're offering a tremendous amount of value to these agents, whatever their sticking points are and what they want to see in their business, they're bringing it to the table. And so I'm
Hmm.
with you. Even when I interview top agents, that I would love to meet up with him. When I talk to them, it's very seldom about the money. It is most often about what they get out of the brokerage, the systems they're offering, the growth opportunities, the referrals they're receiving, the network they're involved in, the colleagues that they're surrounded by. Because like you said, you get out of bed every day excited. They get out of
Yeah.
bed every day excited to go to that place where they work. And so, when you start looking at low cost models, they're there for a reason. I say every brokerage model is successful for a reason.
Hmm.
I really believe top performers don't look at the split because they are running a business and they look at the overall expenses of their business, right?
Yeah.
They aren't just an agent that's paying a split. They're an agent that has potentially office fees, staff fees, marketing fees, tech fees. They have a lot of things that they're putting into their expense plate. And here's the thing with expenses. This is my favorite piece about expenses. It's only an expense if it's not an investment.
Yeah.
So I'll
True.
take coaching, for example. A lot of agents are at that 5, 10, $15 million where they truly should hire a coach, hire me, hire someone, hire a coach. And they look at it as an expense. And I see it as an investment in your business. And I say the
That's
same
right.
thing for a brokerage firm. They are an investment in your business. And if you take your profit loss statement here at the end of the year and you scroll down your profit loss detail, and beside everything you can put that's on that list, you can put that it was an investment. Meals with clients, investment into future business. Marketing, investment into future client event. Like, is it an investment or is it truly an expense? And when you can weigh it as an investment, it makes the profit margin feels more solid. It makes you feel like something you want to continue to grow.
That's a good point. I see, you know what? I see two different types of agents out in the marketplace all over the place. I see those agents that are scared to spend any money. They're counting every penny while they're dropping the dollars. Okay. They're just catching pennies. I like to call that, right? They're not investing in their business. They're not investing in themselves. And then you have those other people like myself where I'm like, I'm all in 100%. I'm investing everything into my real estate business, and there's got to be kind of like a happy medium there, right? So I love what you said in analyzing your profit and loss. And everybody here listening to this should have a profit and loss, whatever business you're in. Look through it and look at those lines. Is this an investment? Is it not? But when is it? When does that time period come, Debbie, where you say, hey, you know what? I've tested this long enough. Okay. Is it 40 days? Okay. Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? How do you know when something is not an investment and it's an expense?
I look at that at the 6 month and 1 year marks because again, sometimes we go buy the shiny object and we want it to work. Take a geographical farming or internet leads. We go and we think we want it to work here in we're going to give it 3 months and we're going to stop paying. That's not enough time. I think you have to look at the runway on them. I typically look at that 6 months to a year. Anytime you're going to invest in something, make sure that you have one, the finances to invest in it for a year, and two, we'll give it the college try for a year, not just give it the first 3 months. Oh, I tried that chat GPT thing and it didn't work. And so now I'm just paying for it. Really go all in on it if you're going to commit to it. But it's that 6 months to a year, and then decide one. And oftentimes it's us, right? It's user error. We invested in something really good and we just didn't use it to the highest level. So if you want to be the poster child for that thing, go figure out what you need to do that and go all in. And then if it does become an expense, and we see this, like I said, with any type of internet leads and these new systems and shiny tools that are out there, they work for some, they don't for others. Remove it. If you don't remove it and either reallocate the money to what's working or save yourself the revenue. And that's going to be true for any industry. And we can say that for staff too, right? We very seldom do we assess our staff. I always use the 4 quadrants exercise, even with people. And it's like, are they adding to, and it's plus, minus, multiply, and divide. Are they adding to our business, which is 1xing it, or are they multiplying it, 10xing it? Are they subtracting it? And I always say subtraction equals distraction. And if they're subtracting, how do we get them to add? And if we can't, we need to cut it. And are they dividing it? Are they causing total chaos? Are they creating drama? Are they bringing things to work that don't need to be at work? Can we get them to add? And if we can't, get rid of it. And it's the same for systems and tools as it is for our activities. Are our activities doing these things? And so really leaning into, like, when you think investment versus expense, we also have to look at it and say, like I said, user error, we're responsible. Is it the tool? Is it us? And if it is us, it's okay to remove it. We just have to quantify it.
That's fantastic. I like that. That's a really, really good illustration of how to quantify. who's doing what for you, if they are, worth growing, keeping, or if it just doesn't make sense at the time to have them, and even your activities too. That's fantastic, Debbie. What does a strong brokerage growth plan include beyond just recruiting agents?
Retention is huge, right? Because I think we are always just one misunderstanding in a transaction away from a retention crisis.
Mm,
I think people leave during emotion. So retention is key. Growth within our brokerage, not just through outside sources, making sure that we're leveling up, helping our agents become even one more deal, two more deals, three more deals productive through
yeah,
training programs. And then I also think it's really keeping an eye on rising stars and market trends. So
sure.
we have to, retention to me equals the culture that we're bringing. We want it to be a place that everyone wants to go to work at every day. And at the same time, keeping an eye on industry leaders that would fit within that culture.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
And,
point.
and I always go back to KPAs. Like, how do we measure it? We have to measure it through KPAs.
Yeah.
KPIs. I'm sorry. KPIs. Yeah.
No, got you, got you. Yeah, people want to work for an exciting place. They want to work for a place where, where everyone else seems to be happy, seems to be crushing it, and seems to be fulfilled, right? So, how about this, right? A lot of leaders, they set big, big goals, all right? But then they struggle to turn them into consistent action. Where are the matrix? Like, what are the metrics, and what are we tracking?
Yeah, I go back to they focus on, they come out with this big vision, and this is the perfect time of year. We have this big vision for the upcoming year, and they
Yeah,
set it at, let's do 20% more.
yeah.
We have no idea what 20% more is. 20% more of what?
Mm,
20% more profit, 20% less expenses, 20% agent growth, 20% company dollar, 20% more staff support. Like, what is that 20%? So they set this vision and they don't set clear guidelines around it, right? So they also, and we do this too as industry leaders and in any profession that's listening to this podcast, we set this goal and we set this vision and then we shove it in the drawer.
mm, yeah.
And so we really have to look at things like ramp up time. So if we're going to set this vision, are we talking about it to our staff, and do they know what role they play?
Mm.
Maybe we're self-employed. Are we putting those activities on our calendar to get us to that, whatever that big vision is? And that's where I think the biggest gap too is we're not looking at ramp up time. We have agents say, oh, like we said, I'm going to start this geographical farming and I want to do 20 deals off of it this year.
Hmm.
Well, that's a great vision. Do we understand the ramp up time on something like that?
Mm.
So really looking at that and what drives the profit. So what's going to drive our profit to get where we need to go? Not looking at, I always say sometimes our vision flatters our ego.
Yeah.
And so a vision is something that we can see out there, but we don't take action around it. And so getting everyone that's in your universe around that vision, but then holding everyone accountable. That's one of those, people are like, oh, accountability is such a bad word. It's not. Accountability is a results word. It's a performance word. It's a profit word. We're talking about wealth here. We're talking
Yeah.
about selling
True.
free homes.
True.
We're talking about creating an empire. And so really looking at how are we creating that empire through performance, profit, results. Because again, I look at when we talk about wealth and businesses, I mean, what are you doing to work towards investing in another business or investing in additional real estate opportunities, investing in different opportunities that are out there through the government? It's like there's
That's
so
right.
many things that we can do through our understanding of real estate.
So
We
many
have to, we
connections
have
to be made. Yeah.
exactly. We have to focus. We have to start with the income, right? So put
Hmm.
the income on your calendar, make it activities.
As a sales manager here, as the owner of a brokerage, right? I find myself, and I don't know if other listeners find themselves like this too. Any business people, I find myself wanting more success for our people than some of our people want for themselves. And then, like, then you're like, you get kind of, I don't want to say discouraged because it takes a lot for me to get discouraged. I don't stop. I'm like a freight train, right? But you kind of get like, why do I want this more than them? And is that basically, does that go against the culture you want to keep by having people on that aren't with that. You know what I mean? If they don't want to grow and they don't want to grow themselves financially, professionally, whatever, do you keep that person on, or do you just say, hey, you know what, this doesn't fit the culture? I think that culture is more important than profitability, because when you have a consistent great culture, the profit's going to come. You can't lead with profit. You got to lead with purpose. You got to lead with culture. You got to lead with that stuff.
No, I agree with you. I do think you have to lean in on your culture and your core values. And that's, people are like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so woo woo. What are your core values? But at the end of the day, it's who you stand for and it's who
Yeah.
you want your people to stand for. And, it's like friends, right? We have really great friends and we have acquaintances, and they're
Yeah.
acquaintances for a reason. And it comes down to, how are we prioritizing our success, and are we prioritizing the success of someone else who doesn't want it over our success? Everyone else on that boat with you that wants the same success that you want, when you leave that one person in the life raft that's jumping up and down in a huge wave, like, it's time eject, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So many fantastic points here. And guys, we just brushed the surface. Really, if you want somebody to take a deep dive look at your business, you really need to be investing in a coach. I myself have coaches. I know that I'm going to be reaching out to Debbie as well for some help at times, maybe even some coaching and some strategies. So Debbie Lariviere, and she's with Monter Coaching, and you can find her at montercoaching.com. That's MONTER coaching.com. Go ahead, check her out, follow her on social media. She has a great podcast as well too, and just so many awesome insights. Debbie, it's been fantastic having you on The Wealth Architect. I know that our segment is going to help people grow some wealth out there, not only real estate, but several other businesses as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you, Debbie. Awesome. Do you currently own an abundance of multifamily properties? Are you tired of working with property management companies that just continue to drop the ball and disappoint you? Why don't you start your own franchise? Go ahead and contact our friends at Nexus Property Management to see how their proprietary information and systems and marketing can work for you. The success that they have had all over the country is unbelievable. Check them out, Nexus Property Management, and go ahead and let them know you heard it here on The Wealth Architect. Hey, welcome to the Wealth Architect podcast. I'm Emilio DiSpirito. This is episode number 13, segment B in season 2 of The Wealth Architect. We've got a fantastic guest with us today. Not only is he one of the top producers globally with Engel and Volkers, he's a licensed partner, he's a developer, and Curt, I hope you don't mind, I got to say this, he was number 310 on the Squid Games, The Challenge. He's also a TV reality star, and he finished number 23, which is amazing. And shout out to his daughter, too, Zoe, who finished as number 15. And she's also a Denver Broncos cheerleader, which is pretty amazing. We have none other than Curt Stinson, private office advisor, licensed partner with E&V Tucson, here with us today. Curt, welcome to The Wealth Architect.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. My player number was actually 370 on Squid Games, The Challenge. I'm actually sitting here in Los Angeles right now. We're doing the red carpet finale party tonight at the Netflix at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood. So it's
So
kind of
awesome.
surreal. It's very surreal. It's not my thing. I've never been on a reality TV show. So kind of
Wow.
outside my realm a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I had to give you a shout out for that because, you're a man that's doing so many different things. And I know that accumulating, collecting, and growing your wealth to leave a legacy is super important for you. And you're doing a great job with that. So I don't know how you find all of this time, but, I wanted to talk with you today. I know that you're developing quite a bit out in the Tucson area. I wanted to talk with you a bit today about the mindset it takes behind understanding risk versus reward. And I think that's a good one. So why don't you jump right into that? Like, what does that mean to you? Go ahead.
Yeah, that is great. No, that's a great topic. People think, I tell people all the time, I tell them, I said, okay, I have, let's say approximately $10 million out in development loans at
Yeah.
probably an aggregate interest rate of probably 11%. And people are like, oh my God, there's no way I would borrow a $10 million at 11%. Oh my God, I would never do that. I would never do that. Well, on the flip side, okay, If you're going to borrow $10 million and you're going to make $2 million net to yourself, okay, you know what? Risk versus reward. All right. I'm willing to take that gamble all day long because, okay, let's say I totally screw up and I make $1 million. Well, that's $1 million more than I had yesterday. All right.
That's
and
right.
I could only do it if I could leverage my expertise, my years. Right. And I mean, to be humble, right? People look at me and like, oh my God, $10 million. And to me, that's okay. It's a lot of money, but it's not that much in the whole scheme of things. And so my mindset, I was with our licensed partner down in Atlanta, and I was with her husband. Her husband did $1 billion project.
Yeah, okay. They are machines, dude. Yeah. They are amazing. Krista and her husband, Hofstetter, right?
Yep. Yeah. Steve, and he did $1 billion project. Now that's mind-blowing. That's money. Now that's money.
Yeah.
So my bar is just a little different. So your mindset, you mentioned at the beginning, what's your mindset? Well, my mindset, I surround people who do big deals, right? I have 96 projects in development right now, and I enjoy it. Obviously, you can see my passion on it. I love that. Okay. I also have 100 agents at my company. Okay. And we're always constantly looking for deals, but I'm willing to leverage. People say, how much would you leverage? I said, man, I'll leverage everything I have for the right deal.
Yes.
Yeah. For the right deal. I'm not going to leverage it for a horrible deal, but I'll leverage it for a good deal, a solid deal. You better believe it. How else are we going to get ahead? I'm not going to get ahead by putting money away in my 401k.
No way, man. That's unfortunately a poor man's mentality. I hate to say it. So how do you build up that risk tolerance? Is it something you just have or what?
I tell people, start with one deal. Buy a little crappy little home. Okay. Buy a home for $100,000, put 20 grand into it and sell it for 140 grand and make 10 to 20 grand. And then just grow from there. Right. I have a friend that's a billionaire in Tucson. All right. He has 9,000 units, 9,000 doors. Okay. He started by doing a lot split in Nogales, Arizona. He did one lot split.
Wow.
And then he did two. And then he did, he's been doing it for 50 years. And now
it takes time. Yeah.
And then, I mean, talking about risk, that guy, right? But you get normal. It just becomes normal, right? And I sold 6 duplexes last week. All right. I sold 6 duplexes, 12 units. I mean, that'll net me, I don't know, a couple $100,000. And so I'm like, great, let's do that again. Right? Let's do that again. So the more deals you do, the more comfortable you get. And then they just naturally get bigger and bigger. I mean, look at you. I mean, you just did a big deal. I mean, I was just like, holy mackerel, that's awesome. I mean, that gets me excited. And I talk to people like you, and that gets me excited. Right. And then the risk doesn't seem like risk. Right.
No.
I mean,
there's risk not doing it. It's risk not doing it.
And see, I went through the biggest real estate correction that the country's ever seen. From 2006 to 2011 was the biggest real estate correction ever. And I lived that. And I got my ass handed to me. But the big loss is the fear of not doing it. I had to keep going, right? I had to keep going. But you know what? I never once defaulted. I've never defaulted on a loan. My lenders know this. That's why they continue to lend me money. I'm a very safe bet, right? I've always paid my debt, all right? And the more deals you do, the more money the banks are willing to give you. So, hey, if they're willing to give it, I'm willing to take it.
That's right. Curt, what always, blows my mind with people with risk, with the lack of risk tolerance is it's the same person that'll go to the casino and bet 10,000 on red. You know what I mean? Like, but they're not willing to go to, or it's the same person that'll go buy a scratch ticket, right? Like, take your money, throw it in the trash can, okay? Or they're going to bet on stocks. And there's nothing wrong with stocks, by the way. I don't know a lot about it. I think that you should diversify somewhat, but like, invest in yourself and know what you bring to the table as a man or as a woman, as a business professional, and invest in your business. Invest in yourself before you invest in others. That's my take. The safety is what's here. I know that I'm going to produce.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would never do a deal that I wouldn't put my own money in. I'm not going to go out and borrow money and put someone in a crappy deal and they lose money. I'm not going to do that.
No, it's your name on it.
Right. I've been selling real estate for 32 years. I've been an investor for 30 years. So,
Yeah.
God, if I don't know how to do it by now, man, shoot, dig a hole and put me in the grave.
What are you building, right? So you got 10 million invested. You just sold 12 units last week, right? What are you building?
So I do what the national home builders won't do. Okay. The national home builders build these massive subdivision tract homes. They all look the same. I do exactly. They don't build duplexes. They don't build triplexes, fourplexes. I stay below 4 units. Out of my 96 projects, 46 of them are townhomes in a townhome subdivision in an area that has no townhomes in outside of Tucson, the number 1 rated school district in Tucson. It's called Vail, Arizona, not Vail, Colorado, Vail, Arizona. And then, so 46 of the 96 are townhomes. And then the other 50 are duplex, triplexes. So investors come out of California. They do the 1031 exchange. So they're not paying capital gains. Yeah.
Amazing.
So they're rolling money out of California. I tell people, people ask me, when's Arizona's market going to change? I tell them when California lowers their taxes, which is never going to happen. Okay. Your market, I would assume, is very New York driven, right?
No, Boston driven, somewhat New York, but we're 45 minutes south of Boston. So same effect over there. We are literally like our market has been blowing up because of Boston. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Keep taxing yourself to death in Boston, people. All right. It's great for my business, right? That's what you say. I tell people all the time. And I'll keep politics out of it. But man, the number 1 person to help my business was Gavin Newsom. All right. He's great for my business. Yeah. He keeps taxing. He keeps raising the taxes, and people keep leaving to Arizona. They keep leaving California, coming to Arizona.
There's good and bad with that too. Sometimes they bring their ideals with them. So
true.
You know, then they want to tax you more over there.
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of 1031 exchange money out of California. They're rolling money out of California into Arizona. And they get a good return. I mean, they're getting anywhere on a cap rate on a return for their money. They're getting anywhere from 8 to 10% on their money. And they can't get that in California. And so they get a brand new duplex and they're going to get an 8% return.
All right. So you just said something a couple minutes ago. You said that you're doing things that the national builders don't want to touch, right? Why would they not want to put townhomes or duplexes in? I mean, I think that's brilliant. I see a lot of buyers going for those.
Yeah, they in Arizona, they're just so headstrong and just so focused on just building these. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they have their model, right? And so they just build the same floor plan, the same like they have like 4 or 5 floor plans,
Boring.
And they just and they build 10 at a time, and they just and it's a machine. A national home builder in Tucson's operating on anywhere between 6 to 8% return, and I'm like, screw that. Man, I'm gonna go do onesie twosies. Like out of my 50 duplexes, they're probably in 17 different sites. So I'm picking up these little infill lots here, there, stuff that the national home builder won't do. So yeah.
Wow.
So, and it's awesome. It's been great for us. We're expanding to Phoenix. There's, believe it or not, less competition for me in Phoenix than there is in Tucson. So we're going an hour and a half up the road. And we're going to be doing stuff in Phoenix. I'm excited about my next chapter.
That's amazing. You know, I love talking with people like you too, Curt. I found everyone else around me. I'm making everyone else money. They were flipping houses. They were building houses. So I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this too. 42 houses later, 4.5 years later, 42 houses later. And now I got several I'm flipping, several I'm buying, several I'm building. And it really, like, if you are in this business, if you are in real estate, you need to be taking advantage of all of this auxiliary income and all of these connections you could have.
And people don't realize that this big beautiful bill that was passed, the depreciation, you can take all the depreciation in 1 year. Oh my God, what a game changer. What a game changer. I'm keeping one of every 4 we build. And cost segregating and depreciating them all off on the first year. And so
explain that. Well, explain cost segregation.
Okay, so I'm taking the cost of the construction of the place, and you used to have to amortize it over 30 years. You used to have to amortize it and depreciate it over 30 years. Well, with the new big beautiful bill, you can take all that depreciation in the first year. And
boom.
if the depreciation is more than your tax liability, you can roll it over. So
Yeah.
I make all this money on these duplexes, and then I keep one, and it's a complete tax write-off, and it wipes out my income on the other 4. I'm like,
Perfect.
this is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, it's amazing. So you're going to keep it and rent it? Is that your goal?
Yep.
Yeah. And then so this is a whole nother wealth talk here, because this is beautiful. You're going to keep it. You're going to rent it. Are you going to leverage the equity in those to go buy other projects?
Yeah. I need to. Yeah.
You're becoming your own bank.
Correct. Right. And then you're not paying 10 or 12% on your money, right? You're pocketing that money yourself. This is going to kind of blow your mind away. Okay. Out of the $10 million projects that we have going on, guess how much of my own personal money I have in it?
Zero. Yeah.
Zero.
Smart.
Yeah. And so, and those guys are getting, I mean, some nice returns, and they love it. They're like, keep going, Curt, keep going. We're fine. Keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's keep going. And let me tell you, they have a lot more money than I do.
But you're bringing value to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's where's your value coming from? What's your value that you're bringing to the table for these guys? Because I want to open people's minds.
Yeah. So these guys don't know how to find the deals. They don't know how to develop the deals. Right. And I do. And so I have the builder, I have the construction company. I am the broker who's finding the deals. A couple years ago, I would say I have more deals than money. Now, with these guys' money, I probably have more money than deals. And honestly, I mean, the only thing that prevents me from building stuff like that behind me is my mindset. That's the only thing. It's not money, right? It's just mindset, right? I've never done a deal like that. All right.
You will.
You know what? I probably will. Yeah. Yeah. Because
build us. Yeah.
Yeah. I can call him
Go
Chris,
up.
I can call him Steve, right? Chris's husband. I can call him Steve and say, hey, Steve, what do I do to do that? Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so I mean, it's just, you surround yourself, you put yourself around people like you. You put yourself around people like you, and it gets exciting and fun. And so, and this podcast is awesome. And I hope all the listeners get some kind of value from me. I'm a little crazy. I'm a little high energy, but hey.
Oh, we love you, Curt. I knew I liked you the first time I met you. I'm like, who is this crazy guy? Someone like me, because we're in a luxury brokerage with so many amazing, wonderful, so unbelievably polished people. And you and I, we're polished in our own ways, but we got that grit mentality, and we are like blue collar guys. Like, sometimes I feel like the network doesn't know what to do with us, but
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And literally I wanted to get work in the higher price point. And the easiest way for me to do that is to slap a luxury name on me. And so that's why I chose Engel and Volkers, is because I wanted to raise my price point, and it was one of the best moves I ever did. We operate in that. Right. But I'm a deal junkie. Just like you, I'm a deal junkie. All right. Bring me a deal.
How many units has your team sold year to date?
We're probably pushing right at 100 deals.
Awesome.
And then the whole brokerage will probably do 500 or 600 deals.
Dude, that's amazing. You got 100 advisors there and we're actually over our time, but I got to keep you for another second, right? How do you forget about just the brokerage, forget about the brand for a second, right? How do you attract 100 people to your business, and especially a highly competitive, tough business like real estate? What are you doing, Curt? How are you doing that? That's amazing.
I think people want to be around the energy. They want, all right. It's not necessarily about, commission splits and all that. Right. It matters how much money goes into that agent's pocket. Right.
Correct.
I'm not the cheapest brokerage by far. I'm probably the most expensive brokerage, but my agents make the most money. And what I tell them is something of nothing is nothing. Come here, do some business, right? Do some business, learn from me. I do a lot of coaching, learn from me. All right. And I can guarantee you'll do some deals, right? And your other brokerage did nothing, right? You hung your license and you could breathe, right?
That's right.
You did nothing. So something of nothing's nothing. Come here, learn, and get some deals under your belt, right? And I promise you'll do well. I coach my son-in-law in Denver. He's closed 38. He's closed 38 transactions this year. He'll make like $800,000 his second year in business.
What's your is your son-in-law with our company? Is he with our brokerage?
Yeah, he's at Nickel and Volkers in Denver. His name's Chris Nagar out of Denver, Colorado. He's married to Zoe, who was on the show on Squid Games with me.
Yeah. Oh, your daughter. Okay, cool. Well, Curt, I want to do this. You know what I want to do? I want to fly out to Tucson. I want to be there for one of your sales training. Okay. I would love to just be there and I just experience that whole thing over there, feel the vibe, see the culture over there. And I want to go tour some of your projects. Can we do that? Can we set that up?
Dude, I would love that. I would love that. And you know what that does for me? That gets me motivated to do more.
All right, awesome. So I'm thinking, maybe sometime either before or after EVX there, we'll figure it out. We're going to be in touch, but congratulations on all your success. You're a huge inspiration to me and to so many others out there. Curt, God bless you. You keep up the great work, man. Let's do this again.
Dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Love you, bud. Anything I can help you with, reach out.
Curt Stinson, ladies and gentlemen, of Engel & Volkers, Tucson, the licensed partner, private office advisor, one of the top 300 advisors across our whole network globally for sales, and a massive developer down there in Arizona. Take care, Curt. Thank you so much. What an unbelievable show today. Man, we've learned so much. We had two high-quality professionals on, and while we were talking about real estate, I'm telling you, these principles apply to all businesses. And you know what? I love the last segment, too, about taking risk over reward. You got to go for the risk. Have fun with it. Be careful. Make educated decisions and surround yourself with the people, with the podcasts, with the professionals that have the value, the experience in the marketplace. And God bless you. I hope that your journey of wealth creation, financially, mentally, spiritually, and physically is going well. And if it's not, don't worry. Keep on going. Keep trucking forward. Take care.